Okay, let's move on to the Celtics. How do you feel about them right now? Like, are they just clearly the best team still? Are they your favorites?
Yes. Out East, yes.
In general, obviously out East, but like in general, are they your favorites over the Thunder?
If Chet was healthy, no, I would take the Thunder. If they just have Hartenstein, then I would take the Celtics. But if both teams are at full strength, I'm taking the Thunder. I really think that the Thunder are the team to beat this year. But Boston is obviously Boston, and like I gave them, a lot of, I guess, flack for not getting over the hump. Now that they've done that, and this is just the way that it goes, all those failed losses. Hey man,
just
listen,
forget about them.
You got playoff experience. That's what it turns into. It goes from playoff failures to experience. As soon as you go, right, it instantly turns into just steps into success. But the fact that the Celtics were actually able to get over the hump last year, they were able to neutralize whatever demons that they could do. I do think that winning a championship does give you a certain level of trust. And we've seen their system get them to far places in the playoffs. And for them, the question was always about, can you enter that next level? They've shown that. They deserve this trust. And it's hard to repeat. It's hard to be the number one seed back-to-back years, especially coming off a title. Some of their stuff, are they worse than they were last year? Yeah, maybe. Are they still a really, really good team? Absolutely. And they are still S tier for me.
So you don't give a shit about their struggles because you're just like, I'll wait till the playoffs?
Yeah. They are they've for 3 years they've been in that space of what I'm going to judge you on starts in May. That is going to be the entirety of what your season, of what this era of Celtics basketball, it's all going to be defined by the playoffs. And they've they've entered that realm.
So it doesn't bother you at all in the last 2 weeks or 24th in offense and 12th in defense?
No.
Really? None of that matters.
Not bother me. Like, would I like to see that? Obviously not. But in terms of like worry, do I think that they're gonna like lose in the first round? No, I don't.
Oh no one's saying that. Obviously they're making the conference finals. It's really like, can they make the finals and can they win it is the standards they have. So that's what I'm talking about in terms of being a little bit worried. Their standards is championship or bust. So there's no threat of them losing the first round. But
that's what I'm saying. Like they could do whatever outside of having a massive collapse and fall to the 6th seed or whatever. But if they finish the season in the 2 or 3 seed, we're still gonna enter the playoffs and we're still gonna say it's championship or bust for Boston. That is the standards by which we hold them by. And so when that is your standard and that is the expectation, you are S tier.
I think our brains are poisoned by the Warriors and Cavs era, where we think every defending champion has the privilege of coasting in the regular season because they've been here before. They'll surely make it back and surely win again. And there's a reason we haven't seen a single repeat champion in 5 years, because these teams are not the Golden State Warriors. As great as the Celtics are, maybe they have the best chance to win back-to-back of all these teams in the last 5 years. I probably think they do have the best chance there. They are not some dynasty that has earned that right. No. I don't think it's just malaise. I think they're worse than last year. And I think there is some serious issues they need to fix that people were kind of ignoring and allowing them to coast. But if they lose in the conference finals and everybody in the world acts so shocked, how did this super team not go back-to-back? We'll be able to pinpoint, look back to these times during the year when they were obviously struggling and everybody wrote it off. Jaylen Brown is worse this year. Drew Holiday is worse this year. KP is worse this year. Besides Tatum, a lot of key guys are straight up playing worse in a way that has enough sample size now that it means something to me. They're not as good as last year, and it should be talked about.
Well, I was told this was an all-time team last year.
I know. Who told you that? Who told you that?
That man.
I heard that.
Right there.
I know.
That man.
Caught him. Red-handed. Freeze.
I was told.
What am I supposed to do? I didn't tell Jaylen Brown to stop making shots. I didn't tell Drew Holiday to stop making corner threes.
Oh, there's only so many teams that have won 80 games in a season. You look at their profile; they're one of the best teams of all time.
And what are those? And what are those? Those are the fucking old days.
And now, okay, stop it. That was like 6 months ago.
A different season.
What I'm saying is, you to say that a team is like an all-time team and then now be like, oh yeah, we can't just like look at them come playoff times. All-time teams, that is your standard. That is what is what we look at, and to be like, oh,
What is
they're
your
not,
point?
they're not the worst. They're not the Cavs.
What is your fucking point? That we shouldn't criticize them at all because I said they had an all-time season last year? Last year is last year. Every season's different. Every year you got to come in and prove you're still on the same level. And I think they've definitively proven they're not as dominant as last year.
I think
me feeling a way about the 24 Celtics has not
Yeah.
shit to do about the 25 Celtics.
I think the caveat with that is that specifically last year, context was different based off of what's surrounding them. Last year they looked like an all-time team because of the what they were faced with in the playoffs, facing off against the Indiana Pacers. Where are these guys now? They're towards the bottom of the playoff race in the Eastern Conference. Who else did they face? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's in that context of last year, sure. Like, they could be an all-time team, but in general, if you're thinking of all-time in the NBA, you're thinking of teams like who actually run shit back, like the Showtime Lakers or the Kobe and Shaq Lakers, or like you said, the Warriors teams or those Cavs teams. Like, that's when I think of like all time.
Yeah.
Like, they're just
Having
one
an
of the
all-time
ones.
dominant season does not preclude you from having criticism the next
That's
year.
the better way to say it.
Yeah. I didn't say they're a dynasty. I said the dominance they had in 24 was some of the most impressive stuff we've seen in a long time. Nevertheless, this year, Drew Holiday is shooting 27% from the corner instead of 60. Jaylen Brown is down to like 52% true shooting, and their interior defense has real issues. And again, I'm not saying it's time to panic about the Celtics, but to ignore the current issues they have and just assume they can figure it out is something that's going to lead to a lot of people being surprised if they don't. And I think it won't be that surprising if the Cavs are able to beat them, and it damn sure won't be surprising if the Thunder beat them.
Weapon to your head right now, the Celtics making the finals?
I think it's closer to, it's a 50-50 shot. I think, yes, probably. It's not, I have a problem you saying it.
Damn, he's
But
dead.
most people,
What are we talking
He's
about?
dead, head blown,
But
brains everywhere. Holy
I think
shit.
I think it's 50-50. But if you gauge the general public right now, if you had a poll of every NBA fan, they'd probably give the Celtics an 80% chance of beating the Cavs. And the margins are getting thinner, and they don't have the ability to go into the playoffs like this. They need to play better by the time the playoffs come around. I think there's a good chance they do. So that's why I'm not writing them off. But if this playoff started today, I would not feel super confident about them.
I can agree with that. I think one of the things for me is that I look at Drew Holiday. Of course, you're going to have some types of concerns because he's been able to get away over the last few years of his NBA career with just being at times offensively in terms of his consistency. I look at Jaylen Brown. I'm not reading too much into that. But what I am reading into specifically is Kristaps Porziņģis. This dude is 29 years old. He didn't play at the start of the season because he had one of the weirdest injuries in NBA history. Injuries that no one ever heard before and no one apparently had. Coming to the season, okay, cool. He's shooting 45% from the field as a big man, okay? Understand, context applied. Kristaps Porziņģis is a shooter. He takes the majority of his shots outside of the paint. I understand that. But even the percentage inside the paint and just the frequency and how he's playing, and even him like physically, he just looks tad bit slower, and it looks like the injuries are starting to catch up to him, and that's very scary considering who his backline help is, who their other option is, which is like Al Horford. Al, I will never disrespect you, Atlanta Hawk, a legend. We all know this, but you're Al Horford at the end of the day, and you're like 40.
Yeah, and again, they're not cooked. They would be cooked if the playoffs started today. Not cooked. Let me say that, but they would be not who they look to be. They have a lot of time to figure it out, but I want to start the dialogue now, so we don't pretend we're surprised if the Cavs are in the finals.
Okay. Yeah, I'm playing both fences. I'm not like they're not a lock to me at all. They're not a lock to me at all.
Yeah, and that's all I'm saying. That's agreeing with me. I'm just saying they're not a lock. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they're fucked.
Nah, Donovan is genuinely holding on to you calling the Boston Celtics an all-time team last year.
Who gives a shit?
You were wrong for that, Isaac, for sure. But I understand your context in terms of like that season. Yes, they were like that season standalone was one of the best.
Yeah, I didn't pull a Pat
of
Bev and say the next 5 are theirs. I didn't say like they're gonna run the league forever.
No, that's not.
Yeah. I understand Donovan though. You did say it in a way that made
No,
it seem
I
like
was.
they were
It's fine. It's
unfuckwittable.
fine. No, we can go to another team.
You say that it feels like you're setting them up to clown them, but you're setting them up to defend them by saying that. So like I don't even know what your
But
point
he's only
is.
defending it because like he thinks that the Boston Celtics are like a shoo-in for the finals.
No, I don't like a like out east. If they played a series 10 times, I'm picking the Celtics at minimum 6 times. Like I don't think that it's 50-50. I think if we get into a playoff series right now, the Celtics would still be marginal favorites over the Cavs. Yeah. I understand what the Cavs have done and I respect it. And I think us putting them in this tier proves that like we really think that everything that they're doing is real. But I also think that Boston going into it should have a level of respect or trust that puts them at 1 instead of 1A, 1B.
And I don't disagree. I just think we need to see the correct course correction over the second half of the season, where I can acknowledge it'll probably happen. I don't want to assume it will, because I think there's meaningful things that have to improve other than just getting lucky and making more shots.